Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. We're here today on our first Cabral HouseCall of the weekend. I'm actually just opening up the Cabral HouseCall document, which my team does an amazing job, as I always say, putting together. And on this document are all the questions that come in over the course of weeks and months. So we answer all the questions in the order that they come in. I know that there's always new listeners to the show, so I like to be able to share that with you. So if you wrote in, it takes about 12 weeks to get your questions answered, sometimes just a little shorter than that, maybe around 10 weeks. And that's really, it's always been that way since essentially the second or third year of the show. So if you want to follow along, see if your question is answered today, head on over to stevencabral.com/3242. But as I always say, try to tune in if you can to each and every show, because if it's not just for you, most likely someone you know, someone you love, someone you care for may be suffering from a lot of these same things. If not now, potentially in the future, because as we know, this world isn't necessarily getting to be a healthier place. There's more and more chemicals, toxins, environmental stressors, etc. So it's just our job to accumulate a wealth of health knowledge and be able to then, of course, share that with others in need. So I just opened up the document. I just go in order from when the questions were written in. I don't do any prep work for them. I'd love to be able to give you my raw and straightforward, like a realistic answer as to what you may be missing and what we can start to do now in terms of natural health. Of course, there can't be any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, medical diagnosis, but that's not what we do anyways. We try to help people actually get to the root cause. All right, so let's dive right in. First question seems to be from Tara. Tara says, my son is 14. He eats dairy-free, gluten-free, and a mainly Mediterranean diet. Lots of fruits and veggies, meats, and healthy fats. About a year ago, he had a breakout on his chin that took him to the dermatologist for. They ended up putting him on antibiotics for 2 months, and his face went from a few blemishes on his chin to all over his face. I made him stop taking the antibiotics and immediately got him on a broad-spectrum probiotic. His face was good until about August of this year. Now the breakouts are cystic on his chin and all over his face. He is very regimented with the skincare. Do you think a GI map is needed? I also have him on pantothenic acid, zinc, and vitamin D, along with probiotics. I should also mention he has 0 GI issues, gastrointestinal issues. Okay, yeah, I'm happy to help with this. So keep in mind, back in the day, I'm a teenager as well, went on antibiotics at 14 years old every single day. So twice a day, I was taking amoxicillin for over 3 years. Through my childhood and through my teenage years, I consumed over 3,000 capsules of amoxicillin. That destroyed, like literally destroyed my gut microbiome, causing massive leaky gut, massive candida overgrowth, and then eventually SIBO. And besides that, a lot of Th1, Th2 immune imbalances. But what I can share with you is this. Obviously, you caught it up early, you stopped it, but I shared that story because I didn't have GI issues as a teenager. Some people just don't get them. I don't get a lot of cramping. I don't get a lot of bloating. Like I never really have, but I had such bad candida overgrowth from the antibiotics. It grew all the way up. It was in my stomach and up my esophagus when I had a GI endoscopy, a scope done, and they were, I mean, they weren't shocked, but they were a little shocked to see candida all the way up and thrush. You know, they've seen thrush before, but I'm 17 years old. You shouldn't be seeing this. So here's the thing. Just because there's no symptoms doesn't mean there's not an issue. I would run what are called the big 3 labs. So it's the bacteria and parasite stool test. It's the Candida metabolic and vitamins test. That's probably the most important one you do. And then there's the IgG food sensitivity test. You can find everything I mentioned today as to what we do in our practice at stevencabral.com/shop. That takes you over to Ecolife, and then you can search for all the individual products there. It's called the big 3. So that's what I would run. So basically the answers I give are exactly what I do for friends and family and people in my private practice. So I give you the same exact thing. Now, if you don't want to, or you only want to do part of it, totally fine. But I wouldn't do probiotics alone because it can help with bacterial balance, but it may not be helping with yeast balance. Okay. So what might have started out as hormonal acne then became potentially digestive acne all over the face from the gut imbalances. So essentially it would be like big 3 labs, big 3 gut labs, it's called, not the big 5, but the big 3 for the gut. Then after that, we are going to do most likely the CBO protocol. with, he's 14. The CBO protocol, maybe add biocidin drops. We'll probably do the adult protocol if your son's fully grown, like if he's, let's say 150 plus pounds or so. And then what we would do from there is the CBO protocol and the CBO finisher. Yes, that's exactly what we do. Okay. But again, I can't provide exact because I don't have your labs. I'm a lab practitioner. So I go by the story, no doubt about that. We've worked with hundreds of thousands of people. So I know where we want to move this to, but I love to be able to personalize it for people. And that's where the at-home lab testing comes in. All right, Darren's up next. Good day, Dr. Cabral. Is there anything in a natural pre-workout supplement that could potentially damage gut lining or cause rashes along the head, back, wrist, elbows, and creases? Okay, so you get rashes along the head and back, wrist, elbow, creases. Okay, got it. I've been using one that has caffeine, beta-alanine, niacin, stevia, L-citrulline, taurine. I initially thought it was either silicone or nickel from Fitness Watch that caused itching and somehow spread, but I've stopped it and it persists. Asking if any one of those ingredients in excess are likely to spur the issue. Okay, yeah, it's a great question. So I can't say anything because my team will be upset, but look for, in the future, a natural pre-workout / mitochondrial longevity product coming because a lot of the ingredients you named are fantastic. Like they're really great. You named 2, beta-alanine and niacin, that can cause skin tingling and sometimes a rash. Could be those. L-citrulline, not typically. And taurine can cause detox-based reactions, but that doesn't mean it's a bad product. It's a great product. So here's what I always do, and I'm going to give you the same advice I give to everyone. You stop all the products. So you stop that product, or if you're using individually, you stop them individually. Wait 1 to 3 weeks. Does the rash go away? Okay, great. Add one back in at a time, or if this is one product, well, then don't change anything else in your diet or exercise or other variables and add in this one product. And if it comes back, okay, it's this product. The problem is you've got a product that has 6 ingredients or so. You won't really know which one it is unless you do these individually. And like your best pre-workouts that you're talking about, obviously there's caffeine, right? So, there's that. That will work, and that's probably not causing it. Beta-alanine absolutely helps increase ATP, causes skin tingliness. Niacin, great. It's part of the citric acid cycle. L-citrulline, yeah, amazing. Taurine, great. So they're all good products. You'd have to use them individually though to really find out. So I wish I could give you a more clear answer, but this is like an easy thing to figure out because we remove. Does the rash go away? Okay, it was most likely this product. Keep things clean, body's balanced, don't add new variables, then add this product back in. Does it cause it? Okay, it's one of those products. So then you can kind of create your own concoction by getting individual beta-alanine and just try that. Okay, for 1 week, I'm just using beta-alanine. Okay, that works great. Keep it. Then you add in let's call it, the next one I would add is probably a citrulline malate because that's a great product. And so then you add citrulline malate. Does that work? Okay, great. And then you just add it in and then you would start using niacin. You're like, oh, it's the niacin, right? Like I'm not saying that it's that, but that's how you figure this out. All right. So hopefully that's helpful. Rochelle's up next. I suffer from Proctalgia Fugax. I believe that's how you pronounce that last name. I've never heard it actually pronounced. But Proctalgia, you want to think of like proctology. And your next line is it's a sharp rectal pain. Yes, a sharp rectal pain. It's happened a lot of during my pregnancies, but now 20 years later, it's happening again. Do you have any recommendations or treatment ideas? Okay, so first of all, we can't use the word treatment, but I get what you mean. So this actually happens quite a bit, but it happens more in men than it does women. Doesn't mean it can't happen in women. It absolutely can. So here's the thing. From what I've read, because I've had a couple people in my practice, not a lot, but we've seen so many people that these things do come up. And so, I personally work with people with this. It sometimes is self-resolving. It's always idiopathic that we don't know exactly what it is. But what I've seen it correlate to is certain food sensitivities, which I know is strange. The second one is sometimes candida, like yeast-based overgrowth. And the third is an inflammation-based trigger. So whenever they're largely inflamed, that this comes on to a stronger degree. Now, when I did look into it previous, it does not seem to have any health-based consequences, except literally it's a pain in the you know what, right? So not fun. So I get it. Here's what I would look at. I would probably run, if you didn't want to run the bacteria and parasite stool test, I get it. It's a good one to run, but I would run the others of the big three. I would run the IgG food sensitivity test, and I would run the Candida metabolic and vitamins test. And then if you can run the inflammation test if you want, if not, start taking 2 soft gels of daily omega-3 support or 1 teaspoon of the daily omega-3 support liquid, just to help with the omega-6 to omega-3 inflammation right away, because that'll work within a week. So, all right, hopefully that's helpful. All right, Sean's up next. Sean says, good morning, Dr. Cabral and team. If you had to go back in time and treat yourself, or use the word treat again. We can't do that. I'm kidding, Sean, and treat yourself when you were at your worst. I believe you had a plethora of issues brought on by reckless use of antibiotics. What would you do and in what order? Do you think 1 round of the CBO protocol would be enough when you were at your worst? What other protocols would you implement? And let's say you had a budget of $3,000 US dollars. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. And so I hate doing this. I love the question. And I get the question, but I hate doing this because it's like, okay, let me copy what you would do. Right? So this is exactly what I would do. This is literally exactly what I would do. And I did it in piecemeal over 10 years, and that's why it didn't work. You can't do things in piecemeal. And that's because the body works in synergies. So this is, I wonder if I've ever explained this on a podcast. I mean, I must have. I explained it in the rain barrel effect, but you have to do things sequentially and keep it going. So people are like, oh, I took probiotics and then I stopped for like 3 months and then I started to do this. And like, you didn't allow the body to build off of your wins and successes, right? So it's kind of like, it's like learning Spanish, right? Like I'm learning Spanish right now, really remedial. I would probably wish I didn't even share that right now. I can't speak Spanish. I'm just doing it really slow. I've got this like 3-year goal where in 3 years from now, I would like to have conversational based Spanish skills. But here's the thing. If I start for a week and then I don't do it for a week and then I do it for a month and then I stop for a month and then I lose it, right? I lose so much of it, especially in the beginning because my brain isn't trained enough in it. So what do I do? 10 minutes a day. That's it. So 10 minutes a day, but every day it compounds a little bit more, and I get a little bit more, right? So that's what we need to do. So having said all that, this is exactly what I would do. I wouldn't worry about like, if I had $3,000 for a budget, what I would do is I would use that on the big 5. That's exactly what I would. It's not $3,000. It's somewhere between $999 on sale, and then that only happens twice a year. But then the typical price is around like $1,300 to $1,500, and it's literally at cost. Like for what Equilife gets that for, you get all that in a 90-minute call with either an integrative health practitioner or the Equilife team, depending on who you work with. But anyway, but then that's targeted. Because then you know exactly what to do. There's no wasting money on nutritional supplements or foods or whatever, because you know exactly what you need to do. You know all of your toxicities, gut overgrowth, heavy metals, omega-6s, specific hormones, cortisol at night, like you name it. Like you'll know what it is because it's going through everything from food sensitivities to gut health, to heavy metals, to vitamin levels, to mineral levels, omega-6s to omega-3s. It looks at everything, your hormones, your thyroid. So then you know exactly what to do and not to waste money on. Like that's the truth. And so, for me, would 1 round of the CBO protocol be enough based on all the antibiotics I used? I don't know. But what I would do is the same exact thing. Citrucidal drops, because I had SIBO as well. And I would do the CBO protocol. That's exactly what I would do. And then I would do the CBO finisher. And I would work with the whole protocol, the whole program, because if I was also working on my immune system, that would help my gut and inflammation. And it would help my leaky gut. So it's like, that's what I would target and in a specific order. Like I wouldn't need to work on my environmental allergies because it would never be able to fix. I didn't never fix my environmental allergies till I fixed my gut. Because as long as you have leaky gut, your immune system's on overdrive. I could never fix my autoimmune issues until I fix my gut, right? So it's like there's a very sequential way of doing things. And by running the big 5, your practitioner will outline exactly what you need to do in order. So hopefully that's helpful. That's StephenCabral.com, big/big 5, StephenCabral.com/big5. It's the number 5, but you can just go to StephenCabral.com/shop and just search right there. All right, let's get to one more question. Pat says, are all hydrogen bottles the same? If not, how to choose the right one? It's a great question. We're getting a lot of questions on this, which is great. So hydrogen water really is amazing. It's, it's not like the first thing that you do, but it's definitely way up on the list. It's definitely a top 10. Like there's no doubt about it because we all need to drink water. It's like air filters. Yes, check. We want to do that. No pesticide foods. Great. Check. Shower filter. Yes, because you consume more chlorine, believe it or not, in the shower than you do in water, because as a vapor, you breathe it in. So it's like, okay, yeah. And then like sauna probably would be there like before hydrogen water, but because you can drink good filtered spring water, but it's up there. So all of my favorite resources are at stevencabral.com/hydrogen-water. Plus on that page, I give you exactly what I use. All right. So like it's all there. And I give you all the science behind it, because I wasn't a slow believer in this, but I was slow to get into it because it's such like a lightning rod topic sometimes. And I don't know why. I literally go by the science. Okay. What does the science say? How would this be formed in nature? Oh, okay. Yeah. All this makes sense. And then I present it, and then I do my own testing. I actually show you on that page my testing videos. This is what tap water is for antioxidants or oxidation. This is what literally a spindrift carbonated water is. This is what Icelandic water is, and this is what Mountain Valley water. I go through the whole thing, and this is what hydrogen water is. So I'm an advocate of hydrogen water. I prefer the hydrogen ionizers because that's where the science is. The hydrogen water bottles, if you're going to get one, I prefer the glass over the plastic. All right. And then you can always test yourself with an ORP meter. All of that is at stevencabral.com/hydrogen-water. All the information, of course, is free. All right, that is it for today's show, but I'm going to be back answering another 5 to 6 questions from the community tomorrow. Hope to speak with you then. Have an amazing rest of the weekend. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.